Hey everybody, it's Beth. Today I'm using this adhesive wall tile and tumbling blocks from Dollar Tree. I started by wood gluing the tumbling blocks together. The bottom row is going to have 8 glued together side by side, the next 7, and then 6, so on and so forth until I have 3 at the top. I let those set for about half an hour before I worked with them again. Next, I'm gluing together a cube of 9 tumbling blocks. I glue 3 sets of 3 and then stack those on top of each other, gluing them into place. Next, I am taking the sets I made, starting with the 8 on the bottom and then the 3 on the top, wood gluing those together, again letting those set. I then take the wall tile and I am placing the tumbling block tree on top of that, trying to get it as centered as I can, and tracing that out and then cutting it out. I'm using tacky glue to glue that down onto the tree. I prefer using the tacky glue over hot glue because sometimes it will melt the tile and mess up the shape of it. So I place the tree down and let that glue set and then paint it with moss color chalk paint by Waverly, and I cover the entire thing, giving it full coverage. I also paint one single tumbling block with that same color. I ended up using 43 tumbling blocks total, 33 on the tree, the group of 9, and then the one single one. Once the tree was dry, I took my fan brush and antique white acrylic paint by Folk Art and distressed over the texture on the tile. And then take antique wax by Waverly, brush that on the cube, and then blend that in with a baby wipe. Next, I wanted to make an extra large bow for the top of the tree, so I'm taking this raffia I get from Amazon, making big loops out of it until I have it the size I want, and then use raffia to tie it in the center, leaving those strands long so I have several tails coming down. And then take some muslin fabric, make a bow, as well as 2 extra pieces to make some tails for that bow. And then glue the raffia bow to the top of the tree, the tails with the fabric, and then the bow on top of that. Next, I'm taking some rusty bells and I am tying those onto some twine, getting those the lengths I want them, one a little bit longer than the other, and then cutting off the excess twine on the end. Then take that tacky glue again and brush that on those knots on the twine so those will stay in place. And then take that and hot glue it right underneath that bow. I flip the tree around and hot glue that single tumbling block to the bottom. And then glue that tumbling block as well as that tree and place it down onto the cube as my little stand. That is it for this project. Thank you so much for watching.